This preseason kickoff is bringing us so much emotion. In the last few hours, I received news that almost made my heart leap, an injury that could have jeopardized the entire season. But thankfully, it was just a scare. I'll tell you everything about what's happening. But first, make sure you've already hit the like button. Only do so if you've been a Steelers fan for more than 10 years. If possible, comment like this: "Go Steelers! I believe in the Super Bowl." Now let's get to the point, because this is a situation that has made every heart at St. Vincent College beat wildly. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers, the face of this franchise and the man tasked with leading this team back to Super Bowl contention, had a moment during practice that could have sent the entire season spiraling. During an intense sequence in the red zone, rookie Troy Fautanu was run over by TJ Watt. And when I say run over, I mean classic TJ. Power, speed, dominance, and, as a result, he ended up stepping on Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers staggered back, grabbed his shin, and for a few terrifying seconds, you could feel the air just leaving the field. Bleeding from his shin, limping to the sideline, being bandaged and iced, it all had the makings of a disaster. And yet, in true Rodgers style, he stayed on the field. He took the next rep, he fought to the end. Mike Tomlin later said it was nothing significant. But hey, we've seen what minor injuries can turn into, especially when it involves a 41-year-old quarterback. Remember Russell Wilson's minor calf injury? It wasn't significant until it sidelined him for 6 weeks and derailed an entire season. That's the risk here. That's what's at stake. Even if it's just a scratch, it's a reminder that this team lives and dies by Aaron Rodgers' health. So what if Rodgers had to miss time? What if this had been worse? Because for a few minutes, that was the reality people were bracing for. There was a legitimate moment when Rodgers stepped off the field and people thought, that's it, the dream's over. And it sparked the question that no one wants to ask out loud: can Mason Rudolph actually carry this team if things go south? Well, here's the crazy thing. There's some genuine confidence in Rudolph right now. And I'm not just talking about some blind optimism. This is based on real performances from the end of last season through this year's training camp and into the preseason opener. There's a belief in this building that if Mason had to step in for 4, 5, 6 games, he could keep this thing afloat, maybe even push it forward. Is it the same level as Rodgers? Of course not. Nobody does what Rodgers does. There were throws at camp, including one wild backfoot dart to Jaylen Warren that no one else on this roster, maybe in the entire league outside of Mahomes, can make. But the fact that we're even talking about Mason in that context shows how much he stepped up. He looks poised. He looks ready. And that's a huge win for this team. Speaking of wins, let's shift gears to one of the more underappreciated developments coming out of training camp: Darnell Washington. Folks, let me put it plainly, Mount Washington is starting to look like an absolute cheat code. And I don't mean just as a blocking tight end, which we've known he could do since day one. I'm talking about a complete weapon, a red zone nightmare, a guy who suddenly has developed route running, soft hands, and surprising quickness for a man his size. He caught a touchdown from Mason against Jacksonville that had fans buzzing, and even Arthur Smith, who's often criticized for misusing talent, has been putting Darnell in situations to thrive. It's to the point now where you have to ask, do the Steelers even need Jonnu Smith? That's how much Darnell has risen. The dude is 310 pounds of pure intimidation, and now he's starting to put it all together. And when you think about this offense, a room full of tight ends, Arthur Smith's schemes, and a quarterback like Rodgers, Washington might be the key to unlocking it all. He's that dangerous. He's that different. But there's tension, and it's not just with the offense. Over on the defensive side, we're seeing some serious alpha energy clashing in the secondary. Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., and Darius Slay, all in one room. 3 massive personalities, 3 dominant players. And Mike Tomlin did something bold. He sat them down at the start of camp and said, straight up, Jalen's the guy. He's CB1. He'll be following Jamar Chase in Cincinnati. And Joey Porter? Not happy about it. And I love that. I love that fire. Because JPJ wants to be that dude. And Tomlin's telling him, you're not, yet. That's how dynasties are built. You earn it. And right now, Jalen is the top dog. He's the shutdown artist. Joey's the future. Darius is the savvy vet. This secondary? It's stacked with elite talent and even more elite motivation. And that brings me to a guy that nobody was talking about a month ago but might just be on the verge of something special: rookie defensive lineman Y.A. Black. You want to talk about surprises? Black has been outshining expectations daily. He's physical. He's fast. And I've been told by people who would know, it might only be a few weeks before he's the first man off the bench. That's huge. There's a lot more to get into. I want to break down where this team stands on the wide receiver front, the growing case for a major trade, and how the Cam Hayward situation is quietly brewing beneath the surface. But I want to know from you, what do you think about this Rodgers scare? Are you confident in Mason? Is Darnell Washington the breakout star we've been waiting for? And where do you stand on Joey versus Ramsey? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget, this is just the beginning. Let me know when you're ready for the rest, because what I've got coming next might be even bigger. Let's keep it rolling, Steelers Nation, because the deeper you dig into what's been happening inside training camp, the clearer it becomes. This Pittsburgh Steelers team is at a crossroads, and what happens over the next few weeks could determine whether this is just another competitive season or a legitimate Super Bowl run. Let's start with what I believe is the most pressing, most urgent issue facing the Steelers right now, the wide receiver situation. And I'll say it straight, the warning signs are everywhere. We've talked about the flashes. Roman Wilson had a nice preseason opener, no doubt, but that was followed up by a rough day at practice, drops, inconsistency, and that's been the story all camp long. Calvin Austin? He hasn't practiced in over a week due to an oblique injury. No timetable for return. And meanwhile, the player who's been the most consistent, most reliable target, Scotty Miller. That's right, Scotty Miller. Look, I respect Scotty. He's tough. He's got wheels. He's dependable. But if you're lining up for week 1 with DK Metcalf, Scotty Miller, and a banged-up Calvin Austin, you are not putting your best offense on the field. Period. The front office knows it. The coaches know it. And you better believe the locker room knows it. This is why fans are screaming for a trade. And they're not wrong. The idea that the Steelers could make it through an entire season with this current group and survive a potential injury to Metcalf, it's just not realistic. If DK misses a game, who steps up? If defenses start doubling him, where's your counterpunch? This team needs help, not just a body, a real impact receiver. Somebody like Terry McLaurin, Romeo Dew, or yes, maybe even Chris Olave. We're hearing whispers that calls have been made, offers have been floated. Roman Wilson and a third-round pick have been mentioned in those conversations. And if the Saints, Packers, or Commanders decide to move, the Steelers might be in prime position to strike. Here's the reality. If you're going all in on 2025, and that's exactly what they're doing, then you don't waste time hoping that things work out. You go fix the hole. You reinforce your strength. You give Aaron Rodgers the weapons he needs to compete with Mahomes, Lamar, and Burrow. You already added Jalen Ramsey. You already built one of the nastiest defenses in football. Why stop now? But let's stay on that defense for a second, because while the wide receiver drama simmers, this defensive unit is flat out terrifying. Joey Porter Jr. and Darius Slay battling for CB2 reps behind Ramsey. TJ Watt looking like he's on a mission. Minka Fitzpatrick playing chess while the rest of the league plays checkers. And then there's Y.A. Black again, showing up and showing out every single day. And here's something that flew under the radar. The Steelers' defense is being described as Super Bowl worthy right now. This isn't speculation. This is from people watching every snap, every drill. This is a top 5 unit, and if the offense even becomes average, they're dangerous. And if Darnell Washington becomes what he's looked like in camp, if he's this unstoppable 310-pound mismatch who can create separation and pull in contested catches, that's a nightmare for opposing defenses. Let me know in the comments. And if you made it this far, drop a Go Steelers, my heart bleeds black and gold. And hit that like and subscribe button, because we've got breaking updates coming every single day as this 2025 season heats up. More exclusive news is just around the corner. Stay locked in.